Hi, everyone. Happy Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. Today is November 11th, 2022, and it is Veterans Day. My name is Razia Cooper, and I am the engagement coordinator at NASW New Jersey chapter, and I also am a military spouse. It was really important for us to showcase social workers that also have served. So we would like to interview today two phenomenal service members, and we want to say thank you to Mark and Charles for your service, but also thank you to every veteran out there for your service, for your commitment and dedication to this country, and for all you do for us. This Veterans Day, we just want to dig a little deeper to see how we can connect social work with um, service members. So I'm just going to ask Mark to introduce himself really quickly, and we will get this on the go.
All right. Thank you, Razia. Thank you for having me here today. So, as you said, my name is Mark. My name is Mark Robbins. I am a MSW student with Walden University and finishing up my internship field placement here with the New Jersey chapter of the National Association of Social Workers. I've absolutely loved it. I joined the Army in 2009. And I served 5 years as a paratrooper in a couple different areas. That's a little bit about me up front. Charles?
Hi, thanks, Mark. So my name is Charles Giraldo. I used to be an intern at the NSW New Jersey chapter. It was a great experience being there. I learned so much. I had the opportunity to contribute, and I want to continue that that pace, that tradition of being able to be part of the NSAW and be able to help out fellow social workers, and who in turn helps out other people. A little bit about me. So I enlisted in the regular Army in 2004, and my MOS, my military occupational specialty, was military police. I spent some time there. I enjoyed it very much. And shortly after leaving that, I just went into the public sector. I just started the private sector, better said, and I just worked there for a period of time. Then I decided to go back to school, where for my major, I did social work in my undergrad, and I'm currently in my MSW and enjoying it very much. And I'm glad to be here today and being invited.
Thank you so much, Charles and Mark, for introducing yourself to our viewers. I do have one question that I want to ask for each of you guys. What were some of the reasons you joined the military? And I guess Charles can take that away.
I had many reasons why I joined. One of the reasons I joined the military was because of the tragedy that occurred in 9/11/2001. I wanted to serve my country alongside other like-minded service members in the efforts of combating terrorism. Not only did I enlist for our nation, but to assist the civilian population in Iraqi and during the terrorism. Another reason was that I wanted to honor my dad, who had honorably served in the Army during the Korean War. He had passed away while I was in my late teens, and I found my calling in my late 20s to serve my country as well. And as well, I decided upon entering the military, I wanted to make it a full career out of it.
Thank you so much for sharing, Charles. And once again, thank you so much for your service. And for you, Mark, I do have this question I wanted to ask you. What is one memory that you remembered from basic training that still lives on with you today?
Oh, I mean, there's so many memories from basic training. You get 50 something guys in one room and memories just fly. But the one from basic that still today I'll never forget and lives with me. We had a drill sergeant from, I'm guessing somewhere in the South for sure, but every time we go on a ruck march, he wouldn't stop singing George Strait, no matter what it was. And now today, if I find myself going on a long run or anything like that, George Strait comes to mind still. And that's one memory that I'll never forget from basic, is that drill sergeant.
It's interesting that you say that. My husband, I always call him the cadence king. If you are not familiar with the military or any branch of service, you may not know what I'm talking about, but cadences are songs that they sing as motivation when they go through PT, which is physical training or basic training. And my husband loves creating cadences. And I used to always call him like the cadence king. Every time I'm like, you're the cadence king. So it's amazing that one of your memories revolved around cadences. One question that I do want to ask, and this is for Charles, was there anything in particular that you missed about civilian life upon enlisting, since you enlisted in your later 20s? Was there anything that you missed?
Did I hear it? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I had it on mute. As you mentioned, Razia, I entered the military in my late 20s, and before enlisting, I lived alone and worked 2 jobs. So I knew what I was seeking, and what to expect being in the military. So I really did not miss much from civilian life. If I had to choose one thing, was the ability to go out as I pleased. Well, in the military, especially being in the military police unit, they pretty much controlled everything. So any civilian or military service members, have the ability to adapt and transition into a different lifestyle during their lives, and that is what I did. I was able to acclimate into the military lifestyle.
Thank you for sharing. And this question is for both of you guys. You both can answer it. We know, as a military spouse, I personally know firsthand how regimented the military lifestyle is, how you guys are on a schedule and it's like clockwork. I wanted to know, was there anything that you both did collectively or individually with yourself or with your units to transition out of the military and into civilian life?
I'll jump first. Charles, you just finished talking. So I don't know how it was when Charles got out. When I got out in 2014, it's a mandatory program. I believe it was called ACAP. I forget what it stands for, but basically it was a week-long program of preparing soldiers and service members to civilian employment and getting them familiarized with resources that are going to be available to them once they transition from military to civilian life. But after that, there really wasn't much of a process once you got out, as far as for me. The best thing I did was link up with some resources in the area and a couple different groups, and that really helped me the most.
Well, thank you for sharing, Mark. Okay, so how was the transition acclimating back? Mine was a little bit different because I was honorably discharged in 2006. I didn't spend too much time. As I had mentioned earlier, I wanted to make it a career. Unfortunately, because I was injured while I was in Iraq, I was unable to continue in the military. So it was a bit of a process. Back in 2006, I'm not sure, maybe where I was, there was not that available, what Mark had just mentioned. And I was stationed in Germany. I'm not sure, maybe it's a little bit different. Maybe it took a little bit more time to get out there. I'm not really sure. So in the beginning, when I got out, because there wasn't really too much support within the military for the separation, because again, I was injured and they were just trying to process everything properly, and yes, I just be discharged. So immediately after leaving in the beginning, I know this is a little bit offset because it's not really about including the military, but a little bit of what happened shortly thereafter. After separating in the beginning, I felt I had acclimated well immediately after the military, because I stood with my family until I found my own place, because I was active Army. I was sent to Germany, and when I was living in New York City, I was living on my own. So I gave up my apartment just to go into the military. So upon coming out, I had to look for a new place. So I was staying with my family. I was acclimating very well. When I moved out on my own, it was becoming more challenging. My medical conditions were escalating, and I needed assistance from the VA to treat them. And the VA where I was going, I know people have heard different stories about it. There were challenging times, and I happen to know that firsthand. Later, I learned many of the processes, and with my family support system, I was able to endure and succeed in having a better life after the military.
Thank you for sharing, Charles. And for the both of you guys, since you guys are veterans and you're no longer in the service and you are becoming social workers, can you connect the two for our viewers so they can see how your time in the military plays a role in you going into social work?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, it was upon returning from Afghanistan. We were pretty much all forced to sit down with somebody and answer certain questions about our service over there. My unit, we were designated with specific social workers and other counselors, and from there, I realized all the good that social workers do and the many avenues of approach that they have to support different people and their needs. And really following that, it was always just an itch in me that that was the way I wanted to go, to be able to support others. And it took me a while to get to it, but here I am doing it. So that's how I found social work, and that's what motivated me.
For me, it's going to be a little bit longer. The reason is that was great. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was, it felt like a sense of trying to approach something and being able to help out others. So, it for lack of a better word, it was very appreciated. So in terms of me with social work and tying everything in, initially social work was not my first choice. It was actually business. I went into business, and I was excelling in the courses. However, I wasn't finding a passion in it. And by the time I went into school again, higher education, it's been some time. So by the time I left the military, and by the time I started school, we're already talking well over like a decade. So during that time, I was learning a lot of how to navigate the VA system. So upon learning, I noticed other veterans that were having a challenging time. I just viewed it when I used to speak with other veterans, and whatever I learned, I would show them automatically. Then I wanted to get into higher education, have a better future for myself and my family, and I went into business. I was excelling, like I was mentioning earlier, but I didn't find a passion in it. It was not until I became the president of a veteran association, the SVA, Student Veterans of America, the local chapter of the school where I was at. And a lot of students were approaching me, asking me a lot of questions. How do I get benefits? How do I get healthcare? I don't know where to go to. I'm lost. That's what many were telling me. And I was helping them out. And I felt so involved. I felt like I was making a difference. And at that point is when I decided to change into social work. Then I had to transfer schools because the school I was in didn't have an undergrad program for social work. And my passion right now is to help out other veterans. That's why I want to become have a master's in social work. Later on, become licensed clinical to be able to help out, other veterans. So there's where my passion goes. I just don't want them to go through the same ordeal that I did when I first came out of the military. I want them to be able to have it from the very beginning, especially with everything that's going on now with many veterans at risk, homelessness, suicide prevention, mental health. So I want to be able to get involved in that. And in order to do that, I felt that social work was the route for me.
Thank you both for sharing. Just to title, and I know that many social workers work with the military population, and many of them work at the VA, in our local VA. And one of the things that social workers do within the VA settings is they provide counseling to help veterans in crisis, but they also help them to transition out of the military and to create goals, whether those are short-term or long-term goals, to meet their individual needs. And as a military spouse, I realized that oftentimes we don't speak about what veterans may need as they transition or even as they continue on with their life. For me, I know that the military has afforded me with some amazing opportunities, right? Such as BAH, such as housing allowance, such as the opportunity to live in various countries. I lived in Germany. We might be moving to Italy, things like that, right? We get those opportunities. And when you are transitioning out, there's so many things that you have to take care of, whether that is just paying your bills, right? Or knowing how to allocate your money. And that's some of the things that social workers aid veterans with. Since you both are from New Jersey, is there any resources that you would like to share with our viewers so that they can tap into for their own personal needs?
Well, there are, definitely, I would strongly recommend that veterans register with the Veterans Affairs to receive the health benefits they're entitled to. Also going online. I'm like you, something interesting. I'm from New Jersey, but I'm not sure if the question was if I was always from New Jersey, because I was originally from New York City. But then when I returned, maybe a couple of years after that is when I moved over to New Jersey. But while my time in New Jersey, a lot of research that I have done is something I came across is going online to newjersey.gov /military/veterans. That's a place where it shows the New Jersey Department of Veteran Affairs page, where veterans can find an array of information on resources offered to veterans who reside in New Jersey. Information about housing, benefits, help for at-risk veterans, and so much more. Another thing that I would also suggest is joining a military veteran organization like the American Legion, Department of Veteran, Disabled American Veterans, Veteran of Foreign Wars, or any other. They can meet the veterans can meet other veterans and get assistance with networking to achieve a better sense of a life after the military.
Definitely. I think Charles hit, phenomenal resources there for, just going off of a couple things he said. That New Jersey website has a phenomenal list of resources. I know I've touched it a couple times. A big resource that's helped me since being out has been what's called the Vet Center. We have one in Lakewood. I think there's a couple others throughout the state, but I'm not quite positive on that. But they're community-based, like VA centers, but community-based for counseling and resources from social workers, excuse me. But like Charles said, networking with certain organizations like the VFW and the DAV, the American Legion, Fleet Reserves. We have so many different organizations throughout New Jersey that they're designed specific for veterans, and some of the DAV for me has been great. I'm with Chapter 24 here in Toms River, and the networking and the resources that they're able to pool for other veterans, it really is a game changer. But definitely everything that Charles said is great as well. Loved it.
Well, thank you, Mark and Charles, and thank you for your service. A quote that I want to leave us with as we end is, while we can never do enough to show our gratitude to our nation's defenders, we can always do a little bit more. So this Veterans Day, make sure that you say thank you for your service to a veteran. If you know a veteran that is in need, try to support them in any way that you can. I will make sure that all the resources that we know within our states is in the bio of this interview, so you can share it with veterans that may need it. Once again, on behalf of NASW New Jersey chapter, thank you so much for your service and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you.